Hello everybody, my name is Dora Pyatt. My call sign is W9HZC. I am the Assistant Section Manager here in Nebraska, and my task is the Nebraska Elmer Squad, and the boss calls me the Director of the Nebraska Elmer Squad. And I have a helper, Daryl Swenson, K0AWD, and I've been friends for a long time, and we both feel the same way about being an Elmer. So this presentation is to give you an idea of what we're going to try to do here in Nebraska, and maybe we can get somebody else encouraged to do the same thing. I've been a ham since 1970. That looks like my son. It doesn't look like me. So that's like 40 years. It's not ever not been fun. I've had fun with ham radio since my very first contact on the air, which was with a 12-watt CW transmitter and a Lafayette radio, which you can see in the picture on the right hand side there. And I made the transmitter out of all television parts, and my first contact with it after I calmed down was Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, with 12 watts from Travis Air Force Base, California. So it's been nothing but fun ever since. What we're trying to do, our mission is to teach and provide guidance not just to the new guys, but even current operators or senior citizen operators who have ham-related issues in the new systems. I don't care what it is. We're going to do this on a statewide basis. We got groups of volunteers. Daryl and I went to the Nebraska State ARRL convention. We had a table set up we had some of our radios that we built, our QRP radios set up, and we took names of people who wanted to be Elmers. We also took down the names of some of the kids, or young people who also wanted help from us. And we're going to keep doing that. We're going to go around the state and visit all the places. When we get to each place, we'll sign up new people. I got our website this morning. We're going to be www.ne-elmer.org. So as soon as I get that up and running, we'll be pretty cool. Daryl and I, this is our motto, and this is what we tell everybody, and most people agree with us. I have to remind people at the club meetings sometimes that, hey, this is a hobby, it's supposed to be fun. And I do the same thing at those meetings that I do when I teach college. I take one of those little things you can buy at the Quick Stop that has cheese and crackers in it, and the first person that whines about anything that's going on, I give them cheese and crackers. Go with the wine. That usually fixes the problem. I went out on the web and looked at some of the stuff. They don't know what an Elmer is, but they certainly know what a mentor is, and that's what we are. And we could call ourselves a radio mentor or an Elmer or just a plain old mentor, but it's actually a personal development relationship where somebody with more experience takes a less knowledgeable person or a less experienced person and guides them. And so there's all kinds of names you can call them: coaches, guides, tutors, facilitators, whatever. A mentor is somebody who's willing to spend his or her time and their expertise to guide the other person to the goal. And it means you don't take them through class and get them their technician license and get them their walkie-talkie and then forget who they are and you leave them alone. That's not happening. We keep after them. We follow up with them. We keep them going. We try and fire them up. We've had kids come over to the shop. I brought one guy over on 1010 day, and he sat and ran the computer and did the log while I did all the calling. And I let him call once, and he was scared to death. But he got such a kick out of seeing what could be done on HF. He went and got his license. And when he came back to my house and showed me the license, I gave him a box, and when he opened the box, there was a FT101E in there that I picked up at a flea market. And I told him the only stipulation was, when it was his turn to be an Elmer, he had to pass that on, and keep passing it on, keep the tradition up, give it to the next guy in the line. So they changed. I wanted NebraskaElmer.com, and they changed it. It's going to be NEElmer.com, but that's okay. As soon as I know what it really is, I'll tell everybody. We're going to have a contact form where people who want to be Elmers can list their skills and where they're located in Omaha or Lincoln or all the way out in the far west of the state, and how far they're willing to travel if I need them. And then the site's also going to have a contact form for folks who are in need of assistance. They can leave their contact information and a short description of their issue. And first I will contact them and find out really what's wrong, because I'm used to working on a help desk and whatever they say is it's not what's really wrong. So I'm going to call them and talk to them about what they're trying to do, and then find someone near them who can go and solve their problem. I have a good example of it. I got an email from a local ham whose daughter and granddaughter live almost up to the South Dakota border, and they both got their license because they wanted dad or grandpa, depends on who you ask, which one they ask, whether they call him. And they went out and got their licenses without telling him. They went to the store, the ham radio store in South Dakota, and both of them got HTs. They came home and didn't know how to connect it to the local repeater, and Grandpa was a little bit older and could not travel up there as often as he liked, so he asked me if I could help. And it turns out that the repeater up there is run by the guy who owns it, who lives about 6 blocks from where these folks were. I looked him up, I called him up and asked him if he could go over and talk to these ladies, help them get their HTs onto the repeater. As soon as he found out who I was and what I was doing, he said absolutely. He called them up, went over there that afternoon and fixed their walkie-talkies up for them, and they're delighted, and they're studying to upgrade. So it's that simple. You just got to know who it is, what their issue is, and go do it. And then follow up with them to make sure it works. Here's where Daryl and I both go, and we're going to travel around. This was the Nebraska State ARRL convention last month, and we had a table set up right next to the ARES folks. The man standing in front of us is one of the ARRL board members, and he was really interested in what we were doing. You can see on the table we had all kinds of rigs, mostly QRP rigs, because we try and talk people into, you need to be able to build something. We want you to try it to see how much fun it is, and we build something simple like a keyer or a shortwave receiver, something that they can see a result from. And the keyer we use, I've never built one and it hasn't worked. None of my people have built one and it doesn't work. And that's a very good step into building something and making it come out right. So we're going to spread the word, and that way everybody will know that if they need something, they can go on the web, find the Elmer website, put in there they need help, and we'll send somebody to help them. This is a very nice slide that I found, and I use it all the time, especially when I'm messing with young people. And a college freshman walks up to the old senior citizen on the beach and wants to know why it's so hard for the older generation to understand his generation. He says, I think I know why, because you grew up in a different world, actually a primitive one, the student said. He said young people of today grew up with television and jet planes and space travel and then walking on the moon. We have nuclear energy, ships and cell phones, computers that work at light speed and many more. And the senior just kind of looked at him for a minute and he said, you're right, son. He said, we didn't have any of those when we were young, so we got off our butts and went and invented them. So you're a little snot, what are you going to do in the next generation? And that always gets applause. Everybody says, ooh, that's kind of right. So the last slide says that man or a woman is not measured by the frequency of his or her voice, but rather by the echoes of their actions. And that's what we want to do. We want to have our actions echo forever. So when we're gone, there'll still be hams around that remember what their Elmer's name was, because we're not going to let them forget.